what I've been asked to talk about is the habits of highly effective employer brands. And the information that I've used to prepare these slides for you is really based on data that the Hay Group has accumulated in three data sources. And the one data source is around the ethics survey, where we wanted to identify if ethical behavior within an organization has any effect at all on engagement. The second survey that we're going to be using is our business company leaders, or best company leaders survey. And the results of that was from last year that I've incorporated into it, as to what do leaders look like in this new world of ours. Okay. The third database that I sourced into was around our employee opinion survey, where we've got over 4 million opinions that have been collected of employees worldwide. Okay. So a lot of this you've already seen. Whoops. Okay, I'm going too fast. Throughout the day around what EVP and CVP is. But I thought it was important, I wasn't sure what the other presenters were showing or presenting to you, but what we found and the experiences that we've had is that the most successful EVPs really echo the CVPs. Okay? And there are some examples that we've pulled out for you. But the interesting thing about this is many organizations don't do this. So they have a CVP that promises a brand or a value or a love or an attitude or a feeling to a consumer, and yet when it comes to the EVP, it's almost a disconnect. There doesn't seem to be alignment. And I think where we forget as HR and leaders in organizations that actually your talent that you're wanting to actually attract to your organization, first and foremost, are actually consumers living in an ordinary world, so consuming your products. So the approach that we've used when we assist clients in identifying what an EVP is and trying to develop what an EVP is really to align that customer brand value proposition to the employee brand value proposition. It needs to reflect, and it needs to certainly be aligned. Okay. So from an employer value proposition, we're looking at the employer promise. What are we promising? What is the deal that we are negotiating with the prospective staff member? Okay, so an EVP is really there to create some emotion, some reaction, some love, around why should I come to work for you and what is the value that I'm going to achieve from joining your organization. And once we've got them in, it's how do we actually keep them engaged, okay, and how do we keep them loyal. And we need to look at cultures and values of the organization. That is very, very important in starting off a promise that you're making to your talent or your potential talent. The talent requirements are very important. The future, what is the future? Are we recruiting for today? Do those behaviors look the same? What are the jobs going to look like in a couple of years' time? Those behaviors are changing. We've heard numerous speakers today around change. I mean, communication for me, and I'm a boomer. I'm not sure I agree with Barry's definition of a boomer. I think I'm actually not, but I am under that definition. And after hearing the geeks around this internet and LinkedIn, and I realized, shit, I really am. The communication I do is via phone or face-to-face. Email doesn't even interest me. I need to see and touch you. So what is that talent going to look like? What are you going to need to actually achieve your ambitions and your strategies going forward? I can guarantee you those behaviors are going to look different. So what are you recruiting for? And how are you recruiting? On the customer side, branding, I'm certainly not a marketer, but we do get involved with the marketing divisions to actually work out what this looks like. And there you've got the client proposition. What are you promising that client? It needs to be a promise and it needs to be kept. And what is the brand and the reputation of that brand? And we need to also look at business capability. Are we capable to continue empowering that brand, delivering that brand, and delivering that promise? Okay. And there needs to be a real balance between the two, and it needs to be a differentiated proposition. So the proposition to the client is, come and buy my product and be loyal to my product and the space. And to the employees, come and join us. And once you've joined, let me maintain that engagement and let me give you the value that you want or what your aspirations are. Yeah? Okay. Once you understand what your EVP is, okay, and it's aligned to your CVP, we hope, you need to then look internally and say, all right, so how are we behaving internally around certain elements and touch points around what we're promising to give to your prospective employee and to employees within the organization. So you've got the welcoming you. So that goes into how do you recruit? What are you recruiting for? What's the media you're using? Who's doing the interviews and what are they saying? How are they accepted in reception? So it's all those touch points that one needs to look at. The leadership of the organization is fundamental. They tell you, or they are the leaders that actually decide on what that culture is going to be and how they're going to roll that through. World-class talent. Do we have world-class talent within our organization? Are we keeping them? Do we know who they are? Okay, so that would be the welcoming you. It goes into all those elements. I am going rather quickly because my time's almost up. Connecting you would be around challenging and exciting work. Do we understand what that means to each of the individuals within your organization? What do they find challenging and exciting? Are we giving them stretch assignments? If we're international, are we giving them projects or job sharing in different continents to sort of experience diversity and culture? Okay, developing you. Are we really creating career opportunities? Are we seeding new generation leadership within our organization? Are we looking for what the potentials are of individuals and giving them that opportunity? Rewarding you. Yes, we need to be competitive in the market, but we certainly don't have to be the leaders. The world's most admired companies pay 4% less than any other company, but there are many ways of rewarding. The yellow cab, I think it was, what a brilliant idea. That's Santam brought in. So there are many, many different ways of rewarding your staff. Duvet days, I actually really like that idea. Sort of duvet days, birthday days, those are really, and it really doesn't cost you very much. Your performance management needs to be robust. It needs to be a strategic performance management, not at the end of the year, here's your check sheet, and tick, 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 tick. It needs to be around development. It needs to be around what are the competencies that you require to actually do this job to the best you possibly can. What does excellence look like? And that incorporates behaviors, not just KPIs as in hardcore tasks. Extending you or looking after you is a strong internal culture. Do we really love our people? Do we show them that our internal processes, the culture, the values that we have, do we really live them? And do we show that to our staff? And extending you, it's around more and more people, and you've heard this throughout the day, your new talent, your new generations, they're wanting immediate gratification. But more importantly, they're looking for meaningful lives. Okay? And here we look at your triple bottom line that you all need to, if you list it on the stock exchange, need to actually account for. And that's around people, planet, and profit. What are we doing in that space around corporate citizenship? That's very, very meaningful to your new talent coming in. Okay, so in the game that I made you play, and I was really a difficult customer, I know, and we didn't have much time, but those would be the touch points that you would have gone into really quickly. And because of the time constraints, it would be more around Do we understand who the team players are and what their roles are going to be? Let's make this really exciting work. How exciting can it be? Well, we can become really, there have been some lovely creative designs that have come out. Very few people, in fact, I don't think any, remembered that there was a reward at the end of the day. From where I was standing and watching, it was really task-driven. Everyone jumped in and a solution mode. Let's go. There was lots of team effort. Many teams did have roles, and there was some sort of organization. But that's what I wanted to sort of let you feel in a game like that. Obviously, time-wise, you don't have much time to actually portray that. Okay. So leadership is the most important to actually make this thing work. And then finally, my last slide. I know that I'm running out of time. It's what's the new? What's the key? And the key is really this new thing in leadership. Leadership needs to be emotional resources, and they need that emotional resource to thrive in this chaotic world of ours. So we talk about emotional intelligence, the ability to be aware, to reflect and grow. Purpose-driven leadership. There has to be a purpose, and they need to actually communicate what that purpose is. They need to be strategic. So rather than executing, they need to stand back and be the purpose drivers of the organization and looking into the future. Seeding new generation leaders. Are we actually growing new generation leaders? And leadership in today's organizations, it's encouraged right from the bottom. It's not just the crystal palace that are leaders. Leaders are from any part of your organization. There are leaders sitting there that have got the potential and have got the specific capabilities and competencies required. Are we seeding them? Are we telling them that we are growing you into leadership roles? To inspire others to do work the best they possibly can, when we know that there are many clients beckoning them to come, companies beckoning them to come and join them, because talent is scarce. Creating an emotional climate that fosters creativity. So the leadership styles or the behaviors that you portray and the leadership styles that you use in different situations has a 70% impact on the climate you create for your staff. And the climate that you create for your staff has a 30% bottom line effect. So what are the styles that are working in your organization? And do the leaders know what that impact is? And then there's obvious culture of collaboration. Teamwork is really, really important, but we're moving into a space of collaboration. We've got globalization coming into play, where we're operating on different continents. We need to understand different cultures. We operate in very flat structures, where it's a very matrix environment, where we need to cross into different functions, different regions, yet some of those positions don't have the necessary authority to actually make people do certain things in the matrix, and that's around collaboration. And finally, things and times have changed, and for me, people's needs have changed. People are looking for different things. We've heard about the generations and what their aspirations and needs are and their particular characteristics. And intelligence itself has evolved, and not only is it the IQ, but it's certainly the emotional intelligence coming in. It plays a major role, and we're starting to see spiritual intelligence come in too. So, yeah, that's the new leader.
This video was developed by the CRF Institute